Change the injectors in this truck. The transmission cross member has to be out. If you do not have the transmission cross member out, and I know you guys can't see, but I'll get a light over here when we start working, the valve cover will hit the cab. If it's in here like, you know, like it's all put together with the cross member in it, that valve cover, you cannot take it off. Have to drop the cross member. Once the valve cover gets dropped down a little bit, when, you know, the engine's naturally going to want to roll to the back, then you can get it off. I am going to put the stock injectors back in this. I have 160 horse P-pump popped injectors in the truck right now. Those are going to be going in Bailey's truck, so I'm going to take those out and put the stock VP injectors back in it. It ran fine with those, and honestly, I didn't really notice a huge power increase. To be 100% honest, I just didn't really notice it. So he wants those for his truck, mainly because of the timing. At this point, I'm probably just talking so much that a lot of you guys are probably thinking about clicking off the video, so I'm going to stop right now. I'm going to get my tools ready, and I'm going to go ahead and start changing these injectors. All right, guys, without going into extreme detail, so to change these injectors, you need to take your intake horn off, you need to take your injection lines off, you need to take your valve cover off. Okay guys, the next step, you're going to want to take a like a small flathead screwdriver, or if you have a injector feed tube removal tool, you'll use this at this point. I just use like a little flathead screwdriver, put a piece of tape on it so you don't tear the threads up, and go through and just pop all these out. Doesn't take much. Pop them out like that, go through and do all of them. And now we're going to go through, we got all our flow tubes out, inspect the O-rings on these, replace if need be. Well, then you're going to want to take your 1/4 inch drill. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, and then you're going to take a 8mm and take these first injector hold down bolts out. You only have to remove the first one, the second one just like a little claw. So you do not have to remove it. On the injector hold down, just remove the first bolt. The second one can stay in there. Then take this hold down out. Set it over here to the side. Keep everything nice and clean. And then you will take a, where's it at? Valve cover bolt. And they thread right down into the injectors. Thread it down into the top of that injector. Take you a pry bar or a tool if you have one. Just pop it out of there and make sure the copper washer comes out with it. That copper washer stays down in there, you need to fish it out. So go ahead and do that to all the injectors. You're going to want to take your injector that you're replacing, or if you're taking them out, whatever you're going to do. Take your new injector, make sure it's got an O-ring and a copper washer on it, and then take your handy dandy valve cover bolt wherever it's at. So I'll take like a little bit of this assembly lube, and this stuff's like really sticky, and that'll hold that copper washer on there. Okay guys, take your injectors, get your copper washer on there, put the valve cover bolt back in it, and then you're going to go over here, stick the hole in the injector towards the driver's side, and then align the slots with the bolt holes. Stick it down in the hole, and then take Don't use a big hammer like I'm going to use. Use a rubber mallet and just slightly tap on them. It's real easy. And then they'll pop in. Don't use this big hammer. I can't find my rubber mallet. So go ahead and do that to all 6 of your holes. Then you're going to want to take these, once you get your injectors popped in there, you're going to want to take these hold downs, line them back up with the injector. Can be a little tricky. If you get them in there crooked, you can go in and kind of line them up a little bit if need be. There it goes. Okay guys, the next step is to go through and torque these injector bolts down. The book says 89 inch-pounds. I think that's a little tight. These bolts will break. I've broken before. So I'm going to set it at 80 pounds and I'll go through and I'll tighten all these. If you guys destroy anything on your truck by watching this video, I'm not responsible for it. This is just what works for me, and this is just how I do it. So in a common rail, that's pretty critical. And you know, getting a good seal, because you could have an internal leak and you're going to lose rail pressure through an injector being not seated properly. But in these trucks, we'll do 80 inch-pounds, and then I'll push the flow tubes in last. So okay guys, at this point you are ready to put your valve cover back on, put your injector lines on, and put the intake horn back on. So I will go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to roll the truck forward and get underneath and show you guys a couple things that I'm going to be doing. I got the 47 in it. As you can see, there's a dipstick right there. I had to bend it a little bit, but other than that, it's a pretty snug fit, but it clears everything. So and I'll probably, honestly, I'll leave the intake horn off because it is like perfect length. I have a really short boot on it. It's a 3-inch boot, and with the motor back, it's putting a lot of strain on it, as well as this radiator hose. So I don't really want to, I mean, I'm not going to take the radiator hose off just because of, you know, I don't want to mess with losing the coolant, but I'm not going to put that back on until the cross member's back in it, so it'll be easier to put on. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I will throw the valve cover and injector lines back on. Alright guys, get all those, I get them as tight as I can get them with this little subby wrench. And then I come over here with a standard size wrench. And this is about how tight I tighten them. I'll do one good turn. That's tight. One good turn. Alright guys, and so here is going to be the first issue going from 5-speed in this truck to manual. The crossmember bracket that I made is not going to work. I don't really know what I'm gonna do. Those bolt holes right there kind of line up perfect with it, but I don't really like the idea of just getting like a bushing and putting in there and having that real long bolt. I don't feel like it'd be very strong, and that's kind of similar to how the old one was set up in the 5-speed, because the 5-speed trans bracket I used to have a Dodge just goes right to that where those two bolt holes are. So that's why that lines up. But on this one, what I'm probably gonna do is I'm gonna take this cross member out. I'm gonna cut this plate off, or figure out a way to make this plate bigger. I'll probably have to end up cutting it off. Cut this plate off here, and then I'm going to weld a bigger flat plate onto it, and I'm going to just drill holes in it and put rubber bushings in it. So that's how we're gonna do that. I think it's gonna work pretty good. Maybe not, but I mean, that's the best thing I know to do. So yeah, I'm gonna take this cross member out from under here and cut all this weld off, and take this big heavy plate off and weld another larger plate to it, and I will be able to drill my holes through that and bolt my transmission bracket down. That is going to wrap up the end of the video. The only other thing I am going to do is I'm going to throw the torque converter bolts in. Just take our torque converter bolts here and put a little blue Loctite in them and stick them in. You'll have to turn the engine over until your bolt holes line up. I wanted to record that, but my camera's about to die, so I'm just going to go ahead and close the video out. That's the only other thing I'm going to do tonight. Make sure, if you guys like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, like the video, let me know what you guys think. We'll see you guys on the next one.